Colleagues, I rise in opposition to this Medicaid legislation. This is my no vote explanation. Whoever oppresses the poor and shows contempt for their maker, but whoever is kind to the needy honors God. We have a very rare opportunity for what we do politically to line up with what we should do spiritually, which is to serve the least of these. Now, I don't know why you got elected, but I served and I wanted to get elected so that government can do for those who cannot do for themselves, and that we protect the least of these. And when you have this policy, which I think is insidious and wrong, that goes against the very heart of what that scripture says, we have lost our way in this state. 70% of the people who receive Medicaid in this state work. 70%. That is more than the national average of 40. This bill is a solution looking for a problem that does not exist. If you are concerned about the poor, if you are concerned about the unemployed, let's fix our roads and create some jobs and put them back to work. That is what we should be doing. Not mandating that they work jobs to receive health care when most people who are working poor already are working. This makes no sense. Nowhere in the Bible does it teach us that because I got mine, you better get yours. Nowhere in the Bible does it teach us the get down or lay down policy. You know what I'm talking about, Madam President? The get down or lay down policy? You either gonna get down with my program or I'm gonna lay you down with my program. That's not in the Bible. That's not spiritual. That's not moral. That's not ethical. That's just wrong. It is despicable to take away the only health care that many Michiganders have means to access. We received testimony in committee this week from a grandmother who said, if you were to ask me to get a paid job for my grandkids and do voluntary work, I would choose to go without health insurance. Does this sound like the embodiment of a Michigan family and a Michigan resident? I, for one, am envious of her children and grandchildren. These are the people who we should be helping. Think about the millions of people in this state who we will deprive from basic fundamental right of health care. It is wrong. And what is the purpose of gaining the whole world and being up here in Lansing if you lose your soul and you can't serve the people who are most hurting? This is wrong. It's deplorable and it's demented and it does not belong in this state and it's not needed. It's an insult to the thousands of constituents that I represent that wake up every morning and take 3 and 4 bus transfers just to get to a job that pays them $15,000 or less. If we cared about raising the poor out of poverty, we would raise the minimum wage to $15. It makes no sense what we are doing. We should not be punishing the least of these. We should be passing policies that uplift the least of these. Through jobs, through investing in our education, through investing in health care. That's what we need. We need to expand Medicaid. We need to expand the health care programs that we have today, not cut them. And we need to tell the federal government to bring back the individual mandate so that 13 million Americans can get health care. Because it's a fundamental right, not a privilege. There are constitutional concerns with this, but regardless of where you're at, and regardless of how this cuts, black, white, blue, green, we are all part of one race, the human race. And this is an affront and a threat to people's basic humanity. I represent a city that has the lowest level of life expectancy in the nation. And the reason why that is because people do not have access to fundamental health care. Madam President and my colleagues, I'm begging you, I am imploring you for the sake of our residents in this state, do not do this. This will have catastrophic effects across the board, whether it's children who are living in poverty, whether it's people who are living, and 35% of the folks live in poverty in my city, and more than 70% of them live above the rate of poverty, but still cannot afford basic needs. If we want to protect the least of these, we need to provide the social safety net for them, not cut it and not eliminate it. This is wrong. And I refuse to block access to health care with this bill. So I thank you, Madam President, and for the sake of Michiganians everywhere, I would like to say everyone vote no on this bill. Thank you, and I like my remarks printed in the Journal.